unsure, still invisible, still building. But here's the truth that burns through the lie. You did not fail, you were misled. The real danger was not in moving slowly. It was in thinking that speed was the measure of worth. And that belief did not start with you. It was programmed into you, one repetition at a time.
One repetition.
Napoleon Hill called this the law of cosmic habit force, the idea that any thought, if repeated long enough, becomes internal law. It becomes your autopilot, the voice in your head saying, "It's too late." That's not your intuition. That's not realism. That's residue, leftover programming installed by a culture that confuses youth with value. But let's look closer. What does youth actually bring? Energy, yes. Confidence, maybe. But also inexperience, fragile identity, external dependence. The truth is, most early success is built on shaky ground, a fragile self-worth tied to praise, a hustle that's more performance than purpose. The people who win fast often flame out faster because they built for applause, not for meaning. And yet,
are you okay?
I'm trying to use this software to streamline my team's workflow, but I can't get any support.
You should use Kintone.
What? A ninja?
With Kintone, you're never alone. Watch.
Whoa!
Having Japanese roots, Kintone provides you with high-quality service.
Kaizen!
3314 Bad Bitch Craft Radio. Let's go ahead and finish this video.
here you are. Maybe slower, maybe doubting, but still here. Still asking, is it really over? Or is there still something in me worth building? The answer is yes. But to get there, you have to destroy the timeline you were handed. You have to realize you are not running late.
Nope.
You are just no longer following someone else's schedule. And that is freedom. Because once you reject the lie, you reclaim the truth that some of the most powerful lives do not begin at 20. They begin at 47 or 58 or 63, not in a dorm room, but in a quiet evening when you finally say, "I'm not done yet."
This is why I talk so much about age 40. Okay? And this is why I understand that people who get to mid-30s to age 40 talk so much about this age. And I even understand why people even talk about ages more than this. But I can speak about where I'm at right now. Because there's more. First of all, I want y'all all to be clear about something. Anytime you're at this age, from mid-30s to 40, and you're picking up something and you're doing something, I guarantee you this is something that you have already been, it's a seed that has already been planted, something you have already been doing. Or you may have done it halfway, or you didn't know what you was doing, or whatever it is. You're at a place where you're more honing in on what you do. You got your feet more on the ground to do what it is that you do. So none of it is new. Anybody that you see in your life that is making the choices that they are making, and you see the consequences of their choices, they were already making those kind of choices before they got to this age. Do you follow what I'm saying to you? So just want to make that clear. But y'all know copyright laws, I got to interrupt.
In fact, I'm just getting started. And from that moment on, everything changes. So let's destroy the lie fully.
You have to destroy the lie fully, because when I tell you all, you got to hone in whatever it is that you do. You feel me? You got to be all the way in it, and you have to invest into yourself. I just told somebody on my socials, I said, yo, I'm coming to your class. They said, make sure you register. I said, I'll register in a week. And I meant that shit. At first I put, after I pay my bills, I said, nah, fuck that. I'm going to register in a week. And I may register before that. But the point is, I know that I'm going to register. I done went to somebody else's class I got a meeting with that same person who class I went to, and I'm still going to work with that person. And now I'm going to go to this person class who has more of a resume than that person. And I started stumbling across their shit and found out their anniversary was on the day that I found their shit. And I didn't know that. And I didn't want to post it because I was like, I don't want to look like I'm stalking because that wasn't it. But I said, maybe it's just for me. And I started seeing that they've been doing the shit that they've been doing since their 20s. They got novels, they got films, they got all of it since their 20s. Okay? And so this person, once again, whether trial error fell, whether the work wasn't good, whatever the case may be, there's work that they have been doing. I got films I did. I got audios I've done. I got things that I've written. That just these seeds have, what I'm saying is the seeds have already been planted. And so now that I'm reaching the age that I'm in right now, and I'm honing in, and I'm like doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm finding the right kind of books, and I'm taking the proper notes, and I'm putting myself in school, and I'm using the AI to study or whatever it is I'm doing. I'm taking the classes for the people who are doing it already. Why is this so much more grounded than where I was before? Because now I'm putting myself out there. Now I have to go into these classrooms and say, well, I got to pitch my idea now. Now I got to work on my pitch. See what I'm saying? I got to clean up my pitch. I got to make sure that I present something tangible to this person that I'm taking serious to hone in on my craft. I got to have something presentable for the next person. And these are two people that I can work with. I don't have to choose. I can work with both. I can go find a third or fourth person, 3, 4 people to work with. It's all about what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish. That's what's different for now than what it was before. Because I think when you're young, I think we can get too caught up with industry. And that's where your heart can get broken. And when you get at this age, you begin to realize, I do it myself. I manifest this shit myself. That's the beauty of this age.
If youth was the peak, then why do so many people crash right after reaching it? Because when your success comes before your identity, you end up building a life that doesn't actually belong to you. You perform, you please, you run fast, but you don't know where you're going. And when the applause fades, so do you. That's not power, that's performance anxiety on a pedestal. But late bloomers, they've already tasted silence. They've already survived invisibility. They don't build for attention. They build for depth. The world doesn't recognize late bloomers because their power is quiet at first. But when you look closely, they carry something others don't. Pattern recognition. After 40, you start seeing what's real. You've made enough mistakes to connect the dots faster. You've learned how to read people, read situations, read energy. Resilience. Youth breaks when, rejected. You've been rejected before and still came back. That's not a weakness, that's calloused courage. Less ego, more clarity. You no longer need to prove, you just want to build. Your clarity doesn't come from ambition, it comes from refinement. Carl Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming your true self. And here's the part nobody tells you. Individuation rarely happens in your 20s, because in your 20s, you're still wearing masks handed to you by society. It's only in the second half of life, when the mask starts to crack, that your real self begins to emerge. When youth burns out, awareness ignites.
You have design samples and a vision for your brand. Now,
This is exactly what I'm saying to y'all. That right there. Let's go.
rest. In minutes.
And from that fire, something terrifying and sacred is born. Authenticity. Success without suffering creates arrogance. Success after failure creates humility. One builds entitlement. The other builds endurance. Immature success is obsessed with being seen. Earned wisdom is obsessed with substance. And in a world drowning in surface-level success, the person who moves in silence, but builds something real, that person becomes unshakable. Colonel Sanders was 65 when he founded KFC. He had failed in business, law, sales, even as a gas station operator. But when most would have resigned, he started over. Not with energy, but with vision. Vera Wong didn't design her first dress until she was 40.
Damn.
She had been a skater, a journalist, an editor. Only after exploring multiple lives did she find her real one. Today, she's a global icon. Lesson. They didn't bloom late. They bloomed after they were ready. You remember Antonio, the plumber who was fired at 48. In the competitor's version, he just reprograms his mind and becomes successful. But in reality, here's what really happened. Antonio had been everyone's backup plan for years. Always available, always polite, always overlooked. He wasn't fired because he was old. He was fired because he was forgettable. Until one morning, after weeks of depression, he looked in the mirror and whispered a new question. If I wasn't scared, how would I present myself today? That day, he stopped calling himself a plumber. He rebranded as a leak prevention strategist, not fixing problems, but preventing them. He raised his prices, changed his appearance, started publishing short tips on water damage online. At first, no one noticed, but 6 months later, his inbox was full. Today, Antonio runs a team, but more importantly, he runs his story. He's not
Going back again. And I'm going to play like another 2 minutes of this. Going back again, you already planted that seed. The seed, it was all, I promise you. Because the moment, I call it picking everything back up again. I literally have stuff that I put in my drawer. Yeah, I'm looking in my drawer. It's been a while since I looked at here. I literally have stuff that I put in my drawer that are like files, books, stuff like that, right? And this was all sitting in my closet for a little minute. But I'm going to go back through these things. Okay? And the day and the time that I go back through these things, I'm taking advantage of every goddamn tool that there is to complete a book. Why? Because of the time I'm in, because of the wisdom I have now, and I know how to program shit, and I know how to get it done, and I can put it out in the world just like that. Okay? I can get it done. The moment I'm ready, I'm going to be ready. And I ain't worried about it. Now for you, and what this is telling you is, it's the fact that, well, a late bloomer or not, you are doing it. You are taking action. Being where I am has tremendously humbled me. Do you understand? I am humbled to my knees, okay? And I'm thankful for my life, and I appreciate my life so much more than I did. And I'm not so hard on myself like I used to be. And it was a recent situation. I won't tell nobody business. There was a recent situation that something happened to somebody at 40. And I say, yo, I got something here, yo. There's something in my spirit. There's something about me. I got something here that I see, and I need to be wise about how the fuck I do this shit. That's what hit me. And I was so proud of myself for the choices that I have made in my 30s. The stupid shit that I have done in my 30s don't look so stupid when I look at other people's lives. Do you understand me? The dumb shit that I have done in my 30s, it was only a moment in my life. Maybe between 1 or 2 years, I did the stupid shit, but it still never stopped me. And even the moment I got here, and I was like from 36 to now, and those 2 years or whatever that I ain't want to do shit, I'm glad I had that experience because it pulled me where I am right now. And everything that unfolded and happened all needed to happen. And I appreciate that shit. And everything I need to see all needed to be seen, because all it did, and like I said, I tell y'all all the time, it lit a fire up my ass. Literally just took the motherfucking lighter and lit my ass here. And I just jumped up in the air and said, fuck this shit.
Not who he was before. He's not bitter, not loud, not flashy. He's calm, sharp, unapologetically late. And that's what makes him dangerous. Because the world expects the loud ones, the young ones, the fast ones. They never expect the man who was silent and then decided to rise. So here's what you must remember. The late bloomer is not behind. He's forging depth the world doesn't see until it's too powerful to ignore. And when he finally moves, he doesn't sprint, he walks. And every step he takes shakes the ground beneath him. Real transformation doesn't happen when the world is watching. It happens in silence, when there's no applause, no recognition, no feedback loop. It's invisible. But it's the most powerful shift you'll ever make. Because the war you're fighting now isn't out there. It's in here. Your mind isn't your enemy. But it obeys your worst voice unless you train it otherwise. Most people think the struggle is external. Money, time, opportunity. But the real enemy? The daily script you repeat without noticing. I'm too old for that. That's not realistic anymore. Maybe if I'd started sooner.
And let me tell you something, honey buns, that fuck men, that SW will do that shit to you too. That SW will make you money. And those of you who've been around, you know what I'm talking about. That SCW will make you want to throw everything away. You hear me? That SCW make you feel like you're old. It make you feel, let me tell y'all something. I'm going to tell y'all a story, all right? Just listen to this story, all right? There once was a woman. Bad bitch, you understand? Had it together, money, business, nice ass house. To this day, I love that woman house. Every time I see, every time I would hear a boy, I'd be like, I like your house. I love your house. I love that woman house. Do you hear me? I never seen a house like that. It was just a beautiful house. Okay. Anyway, she goes, and the story goes that she loved motorcycles. Okay. She loved motorcycles. That was her shit. She go and meet a guy. It's two men. Okay. Two. One man, he makes parts to the motorcycle. Man of another race. Okay. Then the other man, same race as her, black. He is the leader of the motorcycle race, right? Of the motorcycle club, right? And so she didn't want no pink ping, as they say. So she didn't want to deal with the guy who made the motorcycle parts. See, pay attention to this. And so she wanted her BC, right? Air quote. And so she wanted her BBC. And guess what? Mr. BBC wanted her business that she built for her children. He was talking like he wanted her, okay, to give up her business to him. You hear me? And he was just the leader of a motorcycle club. Pay attention. And when her friend said to her, you know, black men hate black women like you. Oh, you ate up and this and that, da-da-da-da. She didn't want to hear that. Then she was like, I'm too old to ride motorcycles and I'm getting tired now. I'm getting too old. You know why she felt that way? Because energetically, she had someone who did not match her frequency and wanted her to stop everything that she was doing, and they were fucking it out of her. Okay? So a lot of you who get the SCW, you have to be careful. See, one thing with me, the last time for me was with a graffiti artist. I mean, an incredible graffiti artist. He just procrastinated too goddamn much. And he procrastinated because he was just that goddamn good at what the fuck he did. Because even when he procrastinated and he got his ass up, that shit got done. That was the only hang up. He was a major procrastinator. And then I started studying what procrastination is. But see, that's me. That's me. Because I was aware. I was still subconsciously aware of something when I was dealing with that person. You understand? And after that had happened, my life was celibacy, aloneness, learning myself. Then I dipped my toe in the dating world when I got about 37, 38. I started late. I started very late. Yes. 37, 38. I dipped my toes back in the dating world, and then it didn't finally happen until I hit 39. When I hit 39, that's when the person crossed my path, and I felt more grounded, you know what I'm saying? And I had more experiences. When 40 hit, was like boom, 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 boom. But anyway, the point I'm making is that SCW will make you stop and not want to do anything. That's the point that I'm making to you from what's being said here. Because when you clear your energy with celibacy and people away from you, and you're focused on yourself, everything you want to do is right in front of you, and you don't want to stop. And even if you feel like you want to stop, you might just, like I did, you might just sit back for a bit and decide, hey, maybe I need to do one thing. Maybe I need to stop trying to do so much and just do one thing that is the one thing that I can do. And that just happened to me. That wasn't through a reading. That wasn't through any of that. It happened to me. I woke up and said, what do I love to do? I couldn't even tell you when I began to start doing this stuff, screenwriting and stuff. I just got up and did it. Can y'all believe that? I literally, in my 40s, got up and did it and took the shit serious. And I couldn't tell you when I started. That's how you know what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing. You understand? I hope that story helped you.
They sound harmless, they sound mature, but they're weapons, and they're aimed at your own potential. Every word you say to yourself becomes a command, and your subconscious doesn't question commands. It doesn't care about age. It doesn't evaluate the truth. It just listens and obeys. That's why so many people live the same year 40 times and call it a life, because the programming hasn't changed. Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, introduced one of the most powerful and misunderstood ideas in personal growth, autosuggestion. He wrote, "Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought." Translation: if you feed your mind the same message enough times, it accepts it as law. Most people have been practicing autosuggestion their entire life, but not with affirmations, with self-sabotage. They've rehearsed their limitations so often that they've turned them into a personality. I'm just not good with money.
And I don't gotta go no more than that. I ain't got to go no further than that. Okay? I don't got to go no further than that. Y'all can go watch that y'all can go watch this yourselves. We find it. Let me tell you something. When you what's that quote? Life opens up when you do, right? Y'all heard that comment before? Life opens up when you do. That is the most honest, the most powerful shit that could ever been said in a commercial. I don't know when I started screenwriting. I don't know when I decided to do it and I honed into it. I don't know when I got up and decided to get a whiteboard, a little whiteboard and a little cork board and an extra cork board. I don't know when. But I know when I started it, the bullshit hit at my door, literally hit at my door. And it lit a fire up my ass. And I did everything I needed to do to fight for myself. More than I have ever fought for myself in my entire life. And then on top of fighting for myself, I still did what I needed to do, and I still kept honing into what I do. And everything kept falling and falling into alignment. And I told you all the time, I went to my sister's house in that damn living room that she was in. I don't need to say damn living room, but y'all know tomorrow. That living room did something to me, and I've been sparked ever since. I was talking about my sister today at work. I'll talk about sister today. All right. I'm going to tell you something. I sat back today and I said to myself, my divestment mind went off today. And I said, I can't even say it out loud, but I was just like, these particular type of women ain't so smart. That's what I said. I said, damn, they ain't smart. That's what I said. I said, they're not smart. And I was like, and this is the problem, you know? And then I thought about how I talked today. I was talking to my bro. I said, yo, bro, I'm a Debbie Downer. I be so goddamn negative all the time, right? And he said, here's my Capricorn brother. he said, oh, I'm a hater. he said, oh, I'm a hater. Y'all, I'm always negative. He said, my wife always get on me about that, but I'm a hater. And I started laughing. I said, how are we the same brain, bro? That shit crazy. I'm a hater. And I was like, and my Jupiter's in Capricorn, so that's just funny. That's why that me and that bro is so close to, and other aspects too. But it's just so goddamn funny. And I'm so negative. Every time somebody says some shit, I'm always saying some negative shit. I'm trying to break. I can't get away from it. But I was like, no, it's not that. I'm just honest. I'm just real. Hey, this world fucked up. This world wicked. And it's funny because I said that. I said, people don't understand. People ain't shit. This world fucked up. This world wicked. Like, you know, I see this shit. And lo and behold, I find out about this Minnesota shit. You heard about what happened in Minnesota? What happened in Minnesota? Oh, this month. Do y'all understand what this person did, y'all? I got to report this. Hold on, let me get my big screen. Fair use, motherfuckers. Let me just make sure I say that. Fair use, motherfuckers. Let me make myself tiny. Okay, because y'all need to see this shit. What we know about Minnesota school shooting suspect Robin Westman. What we know.
Big opportunities await you in the world of big data with UCF's convenient evening and weekend classes.
We do have breaking news. 2 children are dead. More than a dozen other students and staff are injured after a shooting at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. The shooter has been identified as Robin Westman.
Yeah, this is the first photo we were getting of the 23-year-old. Investigators say that the children were sitting in the pews during this morning's mass when Westman shot through the church's windows. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes joining us in studio with the very latest. Rob.
Yeah, the FBI treating this case as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime against Catholics. But Minneapolis police say they are still working on a motive as more information about the shooter, who had no prior criminal history, comes to light. Morning mass turned into a massacre. Parents sprinting to the scene. the Annunciation Catholic Church, where a gunman barricaded the doors from the outside with pieces of lumber and opened fire through the windows.
The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. The sheer cruelty.
For fucking what? For fucking what? How many times have I told y'all this? I said, nobody gives a fuck about what? I said women and children. I've been telling y'all this forever. Is y'all gonna listen to me yet? To all you women that had children in your 20s, shout out to the one and done women. You smart as fuck. You the wisest women on the goddamn planet. You one and done women are the smartest. You women who chose not to have children, you are the greatest of them all. You are the wisest of them all, okay? And for women like me who made the mistake of having just 3 little ones, making my choice of 3 little ones in my 20s, and I ain't make no more in my goddamn 30s, shout out to us. Because something innately in us knew something was fucked up, and we ain't need to bring no more motherfucking babies in this world to raise in this world. We knew something was fucked up. So shout out to us. All right? God damn.
And cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible.
2 students, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, were killed. 17 others were injured, 14 of whom were children between the ages of 6 and 15.
My friend Victor saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit. He's really brave, and I hope he's good in the hospital.
Victor parents mad as fuck at they little weak ass kid. Yeah, I said that. I know Victor parents is mad as fuck right now. Tell me I'm lying.
Police say
my motherfucking kid, they better run for their sibling. You better run for your sibling, run for your motherfucking life and self-preservation out this bitch.
This is the shooter, 23-year-old Robin Westman, who committed suicide at the scene. Investigators still trying to determine the motive for the attack and are looking at a manifesto Westman scheduled to be posted on YouTube.
This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings. That content has since been taken down with the assistance of the FBI.
At the White House today, the flag lowered to half-staff.
Did y'all peep that? I know the divestors is gonna be mad at this, but hold on, wait a minute. Did y'all peep the little? Did y'all keep the black? You peeped the black kid in the background. Like y'all motherfuckers don't like me anyway, but he got that look because he got the hair around his eyes and shit like that. She just chilling. He don't even look like he care. He don't look like he shedded a motherfucking tear, bro.
Of the FBI.
At the White House today, the flag lowered to half-staff. President Trump signing a proclamation honoring the shooting victims. But back in Minneapolis, the city's mayor passionately condemning the shooting and sharing his frustration with the amount of gun violence this country sees.
This kind of act of evil should never happen, and it happens far too often.
Well, it happens.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying.
Let me say something to y'all. I'm not saying aha to the kids. Hold on, I'm not being harsh. I felt that. No. I'm not saying aha to the kids. I need you to understand how laws of attraction works out this motherfucker. You understand me? I want you to understand how this shit works. See, when your president goes up there and say shit like, well, all the murderers is this race and his, black and Hispanic and these people and these kind of people and this and that, these people are doing this. The universe gonna say, oh yeah? Well, let me show you what you've been saying in a much harsher way. See, that's what the universe does. That's how it works. That's what you reap, what you sow. You reap what you sow by what comes out your mouth. That's why when I'm saying aha, I'm not saying aha to the children. I'm not saying that. I ain't cool like that. I'm saying aha to the motherfucker that made the comment that they made. I'm saying aha to Project 2025. That was so adamant. Let me tell you something. What you think gonna happen with Project 2025? You're gonna see more incest. You're going to see more shit like this. You're going to see more abuse. You're going to see everything that is very horrible. because of this. This is the glimpse to let you know what all this stiff stuff is, because children are going to be more harmed by shit like Project 2025. This is the symbolism, y'all. I'm not surprised that this happened. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. And I'm not surprised that it attacked the little children. Saturn is in Aries. I'm not surprised. Let's listen to him rant on. I bet he voted for Trump.
It was the first week of school. They were in a church.
Now, investigators are also searching 3 homes associated with the shooter and have already found more firearms at those locations. Here in Southern California, LAPD is conducting extra patrols at all Catholic schools and places of worship. So another deadly day.
One of those days where there's no words, but that mayor speaking to the frustration and the heartbreak by probably the entire community.
See, that's what happens. That's what your racism and bigotry gets you. I'm going to say it. This is how laws of attraction work. You sat here, you got on the microphone, you made the comments you made. You sent police to DC, bro. You sent the police to DC to help the crime. And here you got some bastard that just shots fired at the kids and then themselves. They ain't even give a fuck. Look like a snack pack kid. What happened? Hold on. Let me just hear the whole story, y'all. Fair use.
Sadly, there's been a deadly mass shooting in broad daylight, just steps from a high school. This happened just off of East Lake Street near 35W in the Phillips neighborhood of Minneapolis. Our Uba Ali is there now with the very latest. Uba, what can you tell us?
Frank, yeah, you mentioned a brazen attack in broad daylight. Bloodstains stretch nearly this entire block. We've learned 1 man has died. 6 other shooting victims were rushed to HCMC with various injuries. Police tell us the shooter took off after firing a rifle they call a weapon of war. This happened near the intersection of East 29th and Clinton Avenue, just steps from a Catholic high school.
Bro, that's the first time I ever seen a fucking Muslim on TV. Oh shit.
Around 1:30 this afternoon. Police say the victims were all hanging out outside when the shooting started. There's no word yet what led up to the shooting, but police say this was not random and that the shooter knew at least 1 person in this group. Chief Brian O'Hara says the act of violence that unfolded today is deeply troubling.
It's deeply disturbing. Obviously, this is the middle of the day. We are standing literally right next to a high school. And this type of weapon, it's more for a weapon of war than something to be on the street here. I mean, just the damage that was done to the bodies of some of these victims is unspeakable. And thankfully, we don't have more people that are dead from this incident.
That shooter is still on the run this afternoon, but Chief Brian O'Hara says they have substantial evidence and he's confident they will find that shooter. Amelia.
Hopefully they do. All right. Thank you, Uba.
A 3-part
Okay, so this is
I haven't been to the grocery store in months because this delivery service offers hundreds of high-quality, non-GMO groceries.
Sadly, there's been.
All right, so now we're gonna go here.
We're also learning more information about the suspected gunman. As you also see this, a post from.
I'm gonna say this though. I was hoping, y'all be hoping it's not a race. I'll be hoping it's not a tranny. I'll be like, damn, please don't be a tranny. Please don't be a tranny. That's what be going through my head. I'll be like, please don't be no motherfucking tranny. Please don't be no dyke. Please don't be no goddamn F to M. That's what I'll be hoping they don't be, bro. Y'all be hoping now. Please, it's not black, it's not white. I'll be going straight for that. I please don't be that.
Brooke Taylor here saying sources confirmed to Fox the Minneapolis shooter has been identified as a 23-year-old Robin Westman. According to court docs, at 17 years old, Robert Westman formerly had his legal name changed to Robin because docs state the minor child identifies as female and wants her name to reflect the identification. The application for the name change of a minor was filed by the mother, and a court granted the request in 2020. And we're getting new images right now of that Robin Westman obtained by
Wait. Did I speak too goddamn soon?
Taylor here saying sources confirmed to Fox the Minneapolis shooter has been identified as a 23-year-old Robin Westman. According to court docs, at 17 years old, Robert Westman formerly had his legal name changed to Robin because
God damn, I spoke too motherfucking soon, didn't I? Damn it, bro. I spoke too motherfucking soon. It's the second one that did this shit. God damn it.
Fox state the minor child identifies as female and wants her name to reflect the identification. The application for the name change of a minor was filed by the mother, and a court granted the request in 2020. And we're getting new images right now of that Robin Westman obtained by Fox here on Live and Now from Fox as we're learning more information about this. The police chief in Minnesota, Brian O'Hara, said there was a manifesto potentially on YouTube. They are looking into that. Investigators are trying to dive into that. There is no motive at this point. At the last update, they did say they obtained several warrants to look into some of the residences of this individual. We also heard from our Fox 9 team that this individual, Robin Westman's mother, may have worked at this Catholic school in recent years. So obviously a lot of potential connections there. So new information coming in about this after this tragic shooting earlier on today. 2 young kids killed, 17 others injured. Of course, those 2 victims that were fatally wounded, we do not know the identities of those 2 kids, but you can only imagine what the family, that community is going through tonight as they're dealing with this loss just in the first week of school as they were attending a mass when those guns rang out, those shots rang out there. All right, I'm Eddie back here on Live Now from Fox. Let's slide away for a quick 2-minute break. Of course, we'll have all of those vigils, the somber moments. We're expecting to hear from the Archbishop of the Minneapolis, the St. Paul Diocese there, Hempstead.
I'm fucking dead. I'm fucking dead. I spoke too goddamn soon. Oh, I spoke too goddamn soon. I spoke too goddamn soon. Y'all know I'm over here with my motherfucking head in my hands right now, eyes closed. I spoke too goddamn soon. And y'all laughing. I spoke too goddamn soon. I said, I hope they not a tranny. And that's exactly what the fuck they are. Don't even look like a motherfucker. Oh my goodness. And Catholic. Two children killed. This is the second motherfucker. Trinity at a Catholic motherfucking school doing this shit. My goodness. Man, bro. Anyway. Now, I want to go ahead and get to the first beginning of this video here. Let me tell y'all something. Hone your motherfucking craft. And now I have to say, follow your intuition. Hold on. Trump said something, y'all. Let's see what he got to say.
Two security engineers from two competing businesses. Michael and
Well, young lives and families forever changed after today. Take a listen to one 10-year-old who witnessed this horrific shooting.
The first one, I was like, what is that? I thought it was just something, then I heard it again. I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend Victor, saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit. He's really brave, and I hope he's good in the hospital.
We're expecting an update, by the way, from city officials in just a few minutes now, Josh, because we're getting more information, aren't we, about the culprit?
That's right. And everything we're learning is pointing to a premeditated, well-planned act of just horrific violence here. The police chief in his update, additional piece of information he told us was that the suspect had actually brought with him wooden boards that were used to barricade some of the exit doors, presumably to try to keep those children and teachers inside as he fired upon them from outside the door. Just a truly, truly horrific set of details that we're learning. We're also told that the suspect had 3 weapons at the time, a very high-powered rifle, as well as a shotgun and a smaller pistol on their person whenever this actually occurred. Now, the individual has been identified. Authorities are working now to try to determine a possible motive. Of course, whatever they uncover, this will never really make sense to any rational person why someone would do something like this. But because a sad reality in the U.S. is back to school means more back to school shootings, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies study these various acts of violence in order to try to understand key commonalities. One major theme that we're hearing from law enforcement experts is that so often these shooters will exhibit warning signs well in advance of actually conducting an act of violence. So a major question, Max, for law enforcement at this hour: did anyone in the shooter's orbit know what was about to happen or whether this person had been suffering from any type of issues?
As you say, we keep hearing similar stories, don't we? Always horrific. We heard from one of the young children describe how they've actually rehearsed for these sorts of events, but within the school, not within the church. And that really brings to light the sort of environment some of these kids are living in.
That's right. I mean, children here in the United States are constantly having to do drills, some of them quite lifelike, what to do if there's a warning, what to do if you hear the sound of gunshots. This is now something that is part of training for teachers as well in this country, constantly trying to, repetition, train. What would we do if this actually occurs? Because this is something that we see so often in this country, just multiple mass shootings. We're told from the local local hospital there that was receiving these patients. They just had a separate mass casualty event happen within the last 24 hours. And so this is sadly something that police are familiar with, first responders familiar with, and sadly children as well.
Josh Campbell, thank you for that update. U.S. Senator for Minnesota Amy Klobuchar told our Dana Bash her former employee's daughter was at the Annunciation Catholic School's mass and saw some of her best friends get shot, one in the neck, one in the stomach. Klobuchar said the daughter then had to tell the father of one of her friends what happened.
When you see these innocent kids praying in a church and they get gunned down by a madman, you have to step back and think, what can we do better? What can we do better with background checks or with assault weapons, which may not have played into this situation? But every situation is different. And there are a number of things we can do that would not hurt law-abiding gun owners, of which there are so many in my state and in our country.
Can you hear me?
Amy Klobuchar speaking. Joining us now, Axel Henry, who serves as the St. Paul Police Chief. St. Paul is the twin city of Minneapolis. St. Paul Police Chief Axel Henry, thank you so much for joining us here today. You've obviously got very...
Hold on, yeah, Bay calling me. There we go. Yo, what happened? Why the hell you mad though? What happened? Besides that, what happened? You know what? Change what? That's what Sean told me to do. He was like, Walmart got some good shit. All right, we can do that. Yeah, let's do it this weekend. All right, so next month, maybe my birthday. All right, my birthday. That's another 5 weeks or some shit, right? Well, they can't. You got one of them phones now. That's how them concepts on it. All right, listen. Right. No, I just had started the show and shit, and they can't hear you. Just text me when you at the crib, smoking and shit. No, you still coming tomorrow morning? So, oh, right. So, but at the same time, you didn't leave the money. You know what I'm saying? The money for me to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know what I mean? We might can. I gotta see what I got going on tomorrow to another 3 hours or whatever. You know what I mean? I'll pay my rent. I will. Huh? I gotta have all my money for my rent this week. All right. So it's cool. I'll let you know tomorrow. I just want to know if you still coming tomorrow morning. Okay, but you just said you can't come. Okay. I do be paying attention. I didn't even mean to repeat that. Just don't even ignore me. Okay. No, I got it. Because he said that, no, I heard you. He said that he need his money up front because the way he works is he get the tires right away, so he needs his money up front. So he can't do it where you can pay him next week. You were saying that. But here's the thing. You wasn't patient this morning. You didn't believe that I would get up, and I was up. I would have went and just took a nap in between time and just paid the bill. Like, you left. I understand. Okay. I mean, I understand that. All right, so just call me when you smoking or text me. Okay. All right. Talk to you later, love. All right. All right. Well, goddamn. Okay. So, and you have to be able to do the things that you want to do too. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to be like, look, love you, boo, but I'm doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to do that shit. All right, listen. I need you all to hone in to what you love to do, okay? Because I just wanted to hear what Trump had to say. Let me see.
Very close contact with many of the people involved here. Just describe the atmosphere today.
Well, anytime a situation happens like this, the entire law enforcement community is going to come together pretty quickly. I was texting him and speaking directly with Chief O'Hara very early this morning, offering our support in any manner that would be needed. Obviously, in the early points of the investigation, we were unclear about how big this was, how many people were potentially involved, as well as the types of threats that were out there, whether it would be explosives or firearms or any other things. And so we've offered our resources. We come together. We actually have 2 employees that I know of so far who have relatives that were in the school. One of I know that was also shot. And so these things hit us all very close to home, and we take them extremely seriously.
Just didn't seem preventable, did it? There's no suggestion that this was going to happen. It was in a church where obviously people usually feel safe. What are your thoughts on preventing events like this?
Well, I think, preparation is the key. We have great relationships here in St. Paul with the St. Paul public school system, as well as our both, the public and parochial schools. Nowadays, most cities have a whole bunch of different style schools. Your traditional just public school setting is not the only form that they have. And so have those conversations, have those relationships. Our SWAT team goes out to the different schools and different businesses for that matter, and scouts out those locations and tells you if you've got something that is particularly threatening to you, whether someone could barricade a door against you, or if there are conditions or situations inside of your building that make you safer, or things that you can do for prevention. And we also want to make sure law enforcement, the first time they're responding to your location on a serious event like this, isn't the first time that we've been there. We know the layout, we're familiar with it, because really what we're talking about here is threats to any collection point where people gather in mass. That's where people who want to do harm can have their most effective strikes against the public. And so we want to make sure that we're taking those into account and we're having those relationships and partnerships in advance so we can help fortify those. And prevention is really the key.
Yeah, but then prevention, how far do you take it? How protected do you live your life? Barricade everything up or accept that events can happen and have some freedom with your life? I mean, it's a really tough balancing act, isn't it?
What are those things that helped you get over some of the stuff you've been through? And also, do you think it's harder for men to open up versus women?
Well, I think it is hard for men to.
Yeah, it is. I think one of the things we should all be considering.
Okay, where's Trump? Where Trump saying shit? Where he at? See, this is a clickbait bullshit. I don't like. I'm not touching on the tranny thing. Okay. What is this? Who is this? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, what the hell? I done stumbled across a rabbit hole. Let's see what this one got to say with Elon Musk on the cover. Hope it's not yelling and shit.
There's a brutal truth about life that most people don't want to hear when you were in pain, when you were down, when you needed someone to stand beside you. Many stayed silent. They didn't just fail to help. They watched. Some even hoped you would fail. The instinct is to be noble, to forgive, to pull everyone up once you've built yourself back up. But here's the problem. If you rescue the people who stood by and did nothing, you teach them that their silence had no cost. When you think back to the moments that almost broke you, you'll remember more than the pain. You'll remember the faces. You'll remember the ones who were close enough to see your struggle, close enough to hear the cracks in your voice, close enough to notice that your eyes weren't shining the way they used to. And yet, they said nothing. They did nothing. They chose silence. Silence is not neutral. Silence is not harmless. It's a decision, a deliberate act of non-involvement.
Look, I feel like that was probably for me. But listen to this. You have to. Okay, Minnesota shooting happened. Kids got killed. You got kids. And it probably got you a little afraid, probably calling your babies, probably making sure you're giving them more rules about how to stay safe. Some of you probably don't drag your kids out and don't put them in homeschool. But here's what I have to say to that. That's fine. But your life still got to go on. You understand me? Your life still got to go on. I need y'all to hear me when I say this. It's like, why do people dislike selfish people? Because we see people who are not selfish. We see how people use them and manipulate them the way that they do. And people who are selfish are the ones that everyone tries to break the most. They try to guilt them the most. They try to get low to them the most. And some people will completely mistreat you as a selfish person who puts yourself first. If you ask me, I think selfish people get the most flack from people. And you need to understand that that comes with the territory of being selfish. I listen to people. It's not even someone. I listen to people. That's why I said I humble myself. And they would, I'm going to take care of this, I'm going to take care of that. It's two things. Either they don't have no children themselves, or they may have children that are older and they have themselves alone. And they're taking care of somebody. Somebody else is filling up their space. You have to be very careful with that. People, because a Capricorn woman put it to me like this. She said, people will want to see you go through what they went through. Subconsciously, they'll put you in a situation to go through what it is that they've been through. And I appreciate Parakia for so much in my life. I really do. I need to find her email and I need to find her. I feel like I will. I appreciate her so much because that's true. And what I realize is people are going to try to fulfill your space with other people. Hey, this family member needs something. You can help. Let them move in with you to get you some money. They try any fucking thing they can. Get you to babysit. This, that, and the third. I've been blocked because of my ways. And I'm going to tell you what I learned for my past 5 years, from mid-30s into my 40s, right? And this is where wisdom does come with age. Wisdom does come with experience as well. And I begin to realize when I was not something that can be used and abused anymore, I got discarded. I get disrespected more. I begin to ask myself, why does this particular person in the family that's an in-law suddenly got this thing about them where they're starting to act a certain way towards me? So much when they were in my home that they were acting a certain way. And I begin to realize it don't matter what I got. It don't matter what I got. I'm not going to be liked. And I'm not going to be liked because understand that there are people that will feel some type of way about your selfishness. Okay? There are people who are going to feel some type of way about you having demands in your life or how your life is and the choices that you make in your life to keep it free for spaces for you and whoever you say can be in your space. They're not going to like you for that. I realize that. I can tell people have act funny towards me when they found out how many children that I really have. Because you know what? When you do the math, it's like this bitch did not have no kids in her 30s. This bitch is really out here just free. We don't really know nothing. And I do that all the time. I could talk to anybody about anything and never tell much about myself. I'm very good at that. And see, the thing is, because I listen to people and I realize that their lives is always, and it's like, it's a guiltiness that they do to people. I noticed this. This is how they do it. People who have no children. The lesbian family member, the gay family member that may not have no children. People who may have children, but they don't have their children, right? People who have made choices in their lives that makes a space for them to have the things that they need in their lives, right? People who have these things, right? They subconsciously have some kind of guiltiness and they're always doing more for their family. I have noticed this shit. And they always say, you know, that Bible quote, honor thy mother, thy father, and the elders, and this and that. And you know, I don't believe none of that shit. There's a lot of old motherfucking fools out here, especially a lot of them. Don't matter what race, a lot of old, especially we talk about boomers and generations. Fuck out of here. And the only elders that I have respect for wisdom are the ones that are fucking rich. Are the ones who put themselves first, who are the late bloomers in their lives, who set up a life for themselves as well as their children, the ones who are smart enough to have enough children in life that they can provide for what they money had to have more money for themselves. Those are people I respect. That's wisdom to me. So it's all of these different things. And I noticed that these people, their lives get crowded up with everybody else. And when you don't want to crowd your life up with everybody else, but in a way that you want to, people will resent you for that shit. They may not say it, they may not show it, but they will. I already said it to myself. I said, I already see what kind of grandma I'm gonna be. I was like, I just don't, I swear, I think I look into my future all the time and I'll be like, I don't think I'm going to be around my grandchildren. I really think I'm going to be the grandma with the shades and giving my grandkids whatever the hell they want. And I see them when I see them. And that's my life. And I'm perfectly okay with that. And I know, because I feel it and I see it too, that I'm going to get better with my health. I'm going to get better with my health. I think I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I believe I'm going to go cold turkey with smoking. I think I'm going to go cold motherfucking turkey and get whatever I need to get to completely stop, get back in that, get working out. I'm telling you, I feel it. And that's why I'm not even stressing myself, because I'm like, when I'm ready to let this shit go, I'm going to let it go. And I give myself between now and to next year that shit may happen. Because I've been too aware for all my life. I've been around too much healthy motherfuckers all my life. People who have been drilling in my head about health. I have my Mars in the 6th house. I have to get my health together. That is a plus. And it's very interesting because I see all these people, health issues. You never know what's going to happen. Their body breaking down and they taking care of the people, and they don't even have nobody around, because that's what people going to do to you. And when you come into a space like me or anybody like me, we're going to give you that awareness to let you know people don't give a fuck about you like you think they do. People don't give a fuck. The only reason I had a situation in my life and that person gave a fuck is because I didn't respond to them. And they look like I made them look like I think about it now, like I made them look like a complete asshole. You see what I'm saying? I made them look like a fucking asshole by the way they were acting. And I realized that in my life. There were times in my life, there was things I was like, man, why was I being a weak ass bitch and this, that, and the third? And that's okay. That's going to happen. But it's like who you are now. I'm cold. I need y'all to understand that. The older I get, the more ice my heart is. And I'm not just saying that. That's real talk. And I realize that gives you power in life. And that's why I go through the experiences I have with certain said family members, because I'm sure they can sense that shit. Like, this bitch don't give a fuck about nothing, and whatever it is, they can sense that. People can sense even how you navigate in your life with people, and they can see what kind of people you like and what people you like back, who you fuck with, who you don't. People can sense that shit about you. But you have to be above all that and say, what do I want in my life, and what does it take to get it, and what sacrifices do I have to make in order to get it? Because at the end of building that for yourself, you're able to years and years and years of that building, you are able to provide what you need as a parent for that child. For those of you who are focused on the future of your children and helping them get a good life head start, you also need to understand there is a lot of women out here who have become grandmothers in their 30s, baby. In their 30s. Some of them, before they hit 30, they become somebody's grandmother. You have to understand that some people's lives is revolved around that. I'm glad I woke up. I'm glad somebody told me, in my 20s, at 28 years old, you have to see your life beyond being this woman with children. You have to see your life beyond that. Say it's just the best thing anybody could have ever told me in my life. I'm thankful for the people who have scolded me in my motherfucking life. I'm thankful for all of that, because I notice in life, if my motherfucker don't care about you, they ain't saying shit to you. You understand me? Motherfucker don't care. They ain't saying a goddamn thing to you. Only one person says shit, and I despise that bitch to this day. I don't give a fuck what she gotta say. I could give a fuck what she gotta say. And I talk shit about that family member every motherfucking chance I get. Because fuck her. Okay? But here's what another thing that is very key. Everything in your life manifests in a way that it needs to manifest by what you've been focused and concentrated on. And therefore, you're going to get that back. I have these conversations with coworkers, right? And I talk about a lot of things, right? We got into the whole George Floyd conversation. We got into Breonna Taylor. We got into what Obama did, history, all kind of shit, right? And I was like, just into the conversation, right? And so I realized that, what was I thinking in that moment? Those of us who have been wise, right? Those of us who have been wise, okay? Those of us who watched our reproductive system, those of us who read the books, those of us who cried about our life situation and said, because that's what Dale Carnegie said. Was it him or was it Napoleon Hill? It was one of them, but I want to say that he said, the way you change your life is you be absolutely disgusted with it. That's what he said. That was 30 years old. I read that. He said, the way you begin to change your life, it was the 12 keys to success. I remember that book. He said, the way you change your life, you have to be absolutely disgusted with it. He said, a woman asked her husband for $5 and he told her no. And she became so disgusted with her life. That's the moment that she made a change. That's where it begins. And so when you understand that the moment you get disgusted with your life and you make changes, that means you have an inner awareness. And your life ain't been the same since then. I had a friend tell me, it was like, I noticed that you've been changing at 28 years old. I was like, yup, that is the time I did start changing my life around. It was 28 years old. I always say that 28 years old, besides 25, but 28 years old was when my life began to completely transform. And that's when I had my awakening. And then when I was in my 30s, what happened to me was I let the voices get caught up in, you don't have the capacity to love and all this kind of shit. I let the voices get to me real bad. And then eventually I said, fuck it all. I did that in my 30s. And like I told y'all all the time, there was a time I gave up. There was a time I didn't want to do nothing. And that was the best moment that I can have because I had to get rid of a lot of things. I had to cut a lot of cords. It wasn't easy. I had to cut a lot of cords, and I had more cords that I had to cut. And I sit back and I'm like, let me tell you how deep it is. I look at where life is going for me right now, right? And I look at where I was like at 40 years old and all the shit that took form. This person went away before 40. This person just kind of just flipped out over some dumb shit. So they real colors came out, and I didn't fuck with them no more. They basically didn't fuck with me no more. And then I had actually it was two people that flipped out. Then I had another person I just fucking was like, fuck it. And then I could have still been friends with that person, but they had to go too. I had to say fuck it to that person too. And then I also had a time with the whole Coven situation. And I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, I was above them bitches. Why would I have been like? I was above them bitches. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones of the Coven situation. Like this, like I had to really think about it. And I had to really think about how I looked, and I had to really think about all the women that ended up having all these problems and what they looked like. And I had to realize how fucked up them bitches were. And it was a good rude awakening that I need to see. But I'm going to tell you this too. When you live your life a certain way, like I said, RSVP, being around celebrities, being in celebrity spaces, that energy, that frequency does not leave you. Okay? It just doesn't. When you're around people of that caliber, you develop a different type of mindset around people with this caliber. And because you're around people with this kind of caliber in your life, what begins to happen is you can't hide it. When your energy can't hide it when it gets around other people, because your mentality. You get what I'm saying? And so even with your own family members and shit, you begin to see all these little different things happen to you because they can sense it as well. I tell y'all this for a reason. Whoever's out there may need to hear this. You're going to thank yourself 5, 10 years later, next year later. Do you know how much I thank myself? Do you understand how much I thank myself for the things I used to beat myself down for? Do you understand how much I thank myself for knowing the things that I know, reading the things that I have read, and make the choices that I make? I thank myself for my gifts and everything. I have to thank the universe for all this shit, yo. All of it. I'm in a relationship with somebody who helps me and I help them. I'm in the perfect kind of relationship that I like. I'm in the kind of relationship where we do not live together. I'm in a relationship where we don't even talk about that shit. They do their thing, I do mine. I like, and I have someone to understand, just like right now. All right, babe, go ahead, watch your show, do whatever you do. Because you know why? Let me tell you what happened. For some reason, I went to bed earlier than I usually do. Going to bed early for me is like 11, 12 o'clock a.m., okay? I'm talking about 11 p.m., 12 a.m. That's early for me. End up going to sleep. Woke up 4 in the morning. They woke up 4 in the morning. It's like, I'm up. I'm not asleep. I'm up. I'm about to go. I said, nah, it's okay. And I got up and I said, I want to go smoke. And I went and got smoke. And then I had an idea and I began to open up the book and I started motherfucking shooting out that idea from the book, right? And they were like, and I put my hoodie on and everything. I put the air down. Oh, actually, they put the air down. I had my hoodie and everything on. And they were like, they came in there. They saw me sitting down at my desk. They said, she was like, oh, hell no, you up. And I was like, nah, I'm not up. And she was like, nah, your ass is up. And you ain't gonna get up at 10 or whatever. This was like, I stayed up to 4 to 6 in the morning. Then I finally, after I got everything out, that was like 4 or 5. So that's 2 hours of me getting some stuff out and ideas and looking at stuff and everything. And I end up sleeping and I slept to 1, took my shower, started my day. That person was able to see, okay, this right here is important to this person. You take my life 10, 12 years ago and let me had gotten up at that time and did that with the person I was with at that time in my life, they would have bitched. They would have wanted to fuck. It would have been a problem. Do you see the difference? But now I have a space in my life where somebody will understand it and go do shit that they need to go do for their motherfucking self for the day. Do you see the difference? And for me, that's a beautiful motherfucking thing. And you want me to regret the choices that I made from my 30s until now? I'm happy because I would have did it sooner. Do you understand me? I would have did, when I think about it, I would have did that motherfucking shit sooner. Somebody told me that. They said you're gonna look at your life and you're gonna realize I should have did it sooner. And that's exactly how I feel. I would have did that shit sooner. But I did it at the time I needed to do it, and life is what it is right now, and I feel no type of way about it. And nobody can drag, and that's the thing. Don't let people try to drag you into regret. That's another thing. Don't let anyone try to do that. You fight for yourself. You know what I realized? Nobody talks about this. Men sit here, he'll have children, have a ton of children. And he will go out here and he'll get in a relationship with another bitch, and he will focus his attention on that bitch that he in that relationship with. Them kids that need this, them kids that need that. He'll focus himself on that relationship. And while he focuses himself on that relationship, he'll just go ahead and start a whole new family. Or he just go and focus on that relationship and they do what the fuck they want to do. And don't nobody ever bother him. But let a woman do that shit. Do we have to go down that road? Let a woman do that shit, because I'm going to tell you what the real problem is. It's other women that hate to see other women free. It's them. It could be a bitch that's married with children. Who you think are the in-laws I'm talking about? Nice, beautiful house. Ain't got nothing in her name. Just chilling. Got her degree and all that shit. And still got a problem with your free feral motherfucking ass. And you just like, bitch, do you know the pain and suffering I've been through to even get here? And I'm trying to tell you, motherfuckers do not care. They only care about what the fuck they care about and what they think about you. And you can't control what anybody thinks about you. And don't try to. At work, you want to have a good reputation. You keep that reputation. You make sure that reputation stands good with the higher up employees, the higher up managers and superiors at your job. You keep that reputation going up, baby, with them. And you keep that and you keep it that way. Everybody is struggling. Everybody's going through something. But there's also a space with people who don't carry it on their sleeves and they get up and they do what they want to do. There's a lot of people who guilty. Got things haunting them. I got to do this. I'm obligated to do this. And you just like, I ain't obligated to do shit. And they hate you for that shit. I don't believe in that shit. And they hate you for that shit. But understand, in my life, I watched how I was treated for most of my life. But I watched how I was treated by my own motherfucking family versus people who wasn't my motherfucking family. I'm not even mad at the people who wasn't my family that treated me the way that they did, because they not my family. But I'm more upset with motherfuckers who are supposed to be my bloodline that treat me the way that they fucking do. I'm more upset about that experience. And that experience alone can make the heart go cold. That experience alone will make you live a very detached motherfucking life in this world. And don't let nobody tell you that that'll hurt your heart and all that, your heart. No, fuck that. No, the fuck it won't. Once you know for sure that this is the choice you want to make with your life, it's the choice you want to make. I understand why my friend said, I can't wait until you're 40. They said that to me. I'm going to email them one day. I'm going to just pop up and email them. They said, I can't wait till you 40 years old. I can't wait. I want to see. I can't wait till you 40. And I understand why they're saying it, because they probably knew I was going to be cold like this. Because I realized that people ain't shit in this world is fucked up. And I've been treated fucked up by my own family. And I said, you know what? I ain't got to be on the wheel, and you better not motherfucking call me for shit. You better not. And that's what makes me take care of my health. And that's what makes me, like I said, I know already. I'm gonna go cold turkey. When it comes to motherfucking my health, I'm gonna go cold turkey. When the motherfucking comes to the decision that I want to make. You know how I know that? Because every time a bitch eat, that bitch will be me. I always feel guilty. I do. I said to my brother today, I said, is that a eating disorder? If you eat and you feel guilty and you don't want to eat for like a whole week, he was like, don't starve yourself. I said, that's what it be like. He said, oh, that's an eating disorder. You know why that's happening? Because inside of myself, I know I could be eating better. Inside of myself, I know I have the discipline to even if I want to be halfway vegan again, because I have more wisdom to pick up the books, to read books that say like the food that your food eats, books like that I'll pick up, listen to, and write down and begin to build my recipe and get recipe books and shit like that for them kind of books. And begin to build my life from these things. That's why I'm feeling guilty inside. Like, I know I ain't supposed to be eating this shit. I know this shit not healthy. I know this shit is processed. I know this shit ain't good for my body. I got to do better. And I see all these people bodies breaking down around me. And I'm like, I know what to do. But I want you also to understand that sickness does have to do with the spirit, and it has a lot to do with the mind as well. And you got to be careful with people who are sick and who are around sick people, because subconsciously they want to see it happen to you. Trust me when I tell you. I sit here and I observe and I watch. I sit here and I think about my own life a lot, right? I think about and I listen to other people. Oh, I listen. Trust me, there's a lot of people that don't like me. I'm not stupid. I can tell they don't like me. And even the one lady who didn't like me, it's funny because when I started talking, she saw, my mentee came out. So my that side of me came out. She saw how smart I was as well. She was looking like, oh shit, this bitch ain't no dummy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not no dummy. And I thought that was quite interesting, you know what I'm saying? When I was like, oh no, I read this book and this book said, this. And I was like, it's such a good book. And I wonder, like all of that came out of me today. It is interesting because life is beautiful like that at the same time. I have said for the longest, and I'm going to put a trigger warning before I say this. This is not the time for children to be born, right? This is the time for the children that are here to be built into something. This is the time that if you are bringing children into this world, to have your life established so that you don't need the system at all. Now, things can be unfortunate, and if you're born with a child that's disabled or whatever, then you can't do nothing about it. Then the system will provide for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But still, you don't need to have it where you depend on that. This is what I've been saying for years. And so these type things happen because what is it? It's like a mindset that has to be in your face. Because if you look at the age and the years that these children got here, you do the goddamn math of when these children got here, you begin to recognize and realize something. The universe is speaking, people. Do you not? I mean, I sit here and I think, oh, because y'all believe that children are a blessing, that's why y'all keep making them in poverty? Is that what I'm hearing out here? Is that what it is? Is this why y'all buy? Y'all not? And then taking away birth control, and all of this was giving you symbolism and giving y'all the warning. And then so it takes this type of situation to happen for y'all to wake up. Because y'all still ain't gonna wake up. Y'all gonna look at the fact that it was a tranny. I already know what y'all gonna do. This is the problem. It was a Catholic school. They were praying. I already know what's going to happen with this whole entire situation and what it's going to cause. I already see it. I already see the attack that's coming because people are still missing the entire goddamn message. Stop having children that you can't afford. Do we need to put it on t-shirts? Stop birthing children that you can't afford. Poverty is the root of all evil. But nobody gets it. And again, here I am, just a random bitch on YouTube talking. But here's another thing, y'all. The divestors ain't wrong in a lot of things they say too about who you birthing children with. But here's another thing that I find very interesting in all of this. You can't get distracted, people. You can't get distracted. I need you to understand one thing about this world, and it's that motherfucker is wicked. I don't give a fuck how nice that little old lady is in the store to you. You don't trust that bitch. I don't give a fuck if somebody family bloodline and shit. You still got to be careful. You don't know people. Okay? Even if you think that you know them. I need you to understand, people, that you don't know who the fuck is so fucked up and so mad and angry in the motherfucking head that they just want to see your downfall, and they'll come in the face of a friendship to do it to you. You got to be more careful out here. So when you cold and you don't care about certain things in this world, just know that you're only reflecting back what the world is doing too. The world don't care. You think they care that this happened to these children? You think that they care? They want a lot of people wiped off this planet. It ain't even about race. They want a lot of people wiped off this planet, more than which I realize. I've been talking about that for years too. You just got to be on point, and motherfucking be on your P's and Q's. And make sure you just follow your intuition and get that spiritual protection the fuck up. And I mean that shit. You hear what this person is saying in this video? Listen.
It is the moment someone weighs your worth against their comfort and chooses their comfort. When someone sees you drowning and decides not to throw the rope, they've made a statement without words. Your survival is not my concern. And that cuts deeper than any insult or direct attack, because you expected the enemy to be cruel, but you never expected the so-called friend to be absent. This is the part most people don't want to admit. Some of the people you love the most were not just missing in action. They were witnesses. They had a front row seat to your suffering, and they chose to remain spectators instead of stepping in. Sometimes they told themselves a story about why they didn't act. It's not my place, or they wouldn't want my help, or I'm sure someone else will step in. But the truth is, real loyalty doesn't wait for the perfect opportunity. Real loyalty doesn't need a script or permission. It moves. It risks. It acts. Silence becomes a mask. It lets people pretend they're innocent when they're actually complicit. If someone is close enough to see your battle and they still choose to watch rather than help, their silence is participation. It's easy for them to claim they didn't know what to do. But in life, doing something is almost always better than doing nothing. A single message, a simple gesture, a word of encouragement. These are not grand, impossible acts. They're human acts. And yet they chose not to offer even that. The danger is that later, when you fought your way back and your wounds have healed, these same people will smile at you as if they were on your side the whole time. They'll congratulate you. They'll want to stand next to you in the light, pretending they were there in the dark. And unless you're paying attention, you'll let history rewrite itself. You'll forget how silent they were when your soul was screaming for help. You cannot afford that kind of forgetfulness. Memory is not about holding grudges. It's about protecting yourself from repetition. If someone could watch you suffer without lifting a hand, they've already revealed the limits of their loyalty. They've already told you what you mean to them when there's nothing in it for them. Believe them. The first time they chose silence, it was their choice. The second time, if you allow it, it's yours. This is where most people fail. They confuse kindness with access. They believe that in order to be good, they must keep the door open to everyone, even those who prove themselves unreliable. But the truth is, protecting yourself requires boundaries. And one of the clearest boundaries you can set is this: if you could watch me break without stepping in, you cannot be near me when I rebuild. There's a misconception that those who stay silent in your suffering simply didn't understand or didn't know how bad it was. But deep down, you know the difference between ignorance and avoidance. Ignorance is not knowing. Avoidance is knowing enough and choosing to stay uninvolved. One is human error. The other is human choice. The second one is what you need to remember. Think about how many times you've gone out of your way for people. How many times you showed up when it was inconvenient. How many times you offered help without being asked. How many times you felt someone's pain and refused to stand by and do nothing. That's who you are. Now compare that to how they responded when the roles were reversed. That contrast will tell you everything. The people who remain silent during your suffering are teaching you something, not about pain, but about perspective. They are showing you who they are when the stakes are real. They are showing you what they will and won't do when you are in need. And that knowledge is not something to ignore. It's something to act on. The truth is, you don't need to punish these people. You don't even need to confront them. What you need to do is decide where they fit in your life going forward. Maybe they no longer get access to your inner world. Maybe they're no longer invited into your plans, your wins, your losses. You don't have to make an announcement. You simply close the doors quietly and keep building without them. The most dangerous thing you can do is rewrite history in their favor because it feels easier than accepting their betrayal. It's tempting to pretend it didn't happen, to smooth over the discomfort, to tell yourself they would have helped if they could. But that's how cycles repeat. That's how the same people get the chance to fail you twice. Life is already full of challenges. You can't afford to surround yourself with people who see you as optional. Remember who was silent. Remember who looked away. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Because the people who stayed quiet while you were in pain will not suddenly find their voice when you face the next storm. And the people who spoke up, who acted, who stood by you even in small ways, those are the ones you build with. Those are the ones who earn a place in your circle. Silence is a choice. And in your darkest moments, it's the loudest answer you'll ever get. Never forget it. Loyalty is a word people love to use when times are good. They'll say they've got your back, they'll stand by you, they'll never let you down. But those words are cheap when the sun is shining. The true test of loyalty is not in the calm, it's in the chaos. Anyone can stand with you in celebration. It's who remains when the storm hits that reveals the truth. When life is smooth, loyalty doesn't cost anything. There's no real risk in being on your side, when you're winning, when you have resources, when you have influence, when you can offer something in return. But when the wind turns against you, when the foundation shakes, when you lose status or stability, that's when the cost of loyalty rises. That's when you find out who's really with you. The storm is more than just hardship. It's a filter. It strips away the people who are there out of convenience and leaves behind the ones who are there out of conviction. The difference is clear. Convenience loyalty disappears when the benefits disappear. But conviction loyalty remains, even when there's nothing left to gain. You've probably lived this in your own life. You've seen how quickly the crowd around you can thin out when trouble comes. People you thought would never leave suddenly find reasons to distance themselves. Some do it quietly, without explanation. Others disguise it as giving you space. But in reality, they don't want to be associated with your struggle. Your challenges make them uncomfortable, and rather than sharing the weight, they step away. This is why the storm is so valuable. Not because it's pleasant, but because it's honest. Hardship forces people to make a choice. They can either stand beside you knowing the risks, or they can protect themselves at your expense. And once someone chooses the latter, you don't need to wonder about their loyalty anymore. They've shown you the truth, and you're better off knowing it. Loyalty in the storm doesn't always mean someone can solve your problems. It's not about them fixing everything for you. It's about presence. It's about knowing that even if they can't stop the rain, they'll hold the umbrella with you. They'll share their warmth when the wind cuts through. They'll make sure you don't feel abandoned when the darkness closes in. That presence might not remove the pain, but it changes the way you carry it. People who are loyal in the storm don't ask, what's in it for me? They ask, how can I help? They don't worry about appearances or whether being associated with you will hurt their image. They understand that relationships built only for sunny days are not relationships at all. They're transactions. You also have to look at this from the other side. Storms test your loyalty to others as well. When someone you care about is going through loss, failure, or public criticism, do you step back to protect yourself, or do you step forward to support them? The way you answer that question determines the kind of loyalty you deserve in return. You cannot demand loyalty you are unwilling to give. The danger of ignoring this truth is that you may fill your life with fair, weather people, those who will smile, cheer, and celebrate when things are easy, but vanish the moment difficulty arrives. These people will drain your energy without ever strengthening your foundation. They may look supportive, but they're only attached to the version of you that benefits them. When the storm passes, and it will, you will remember who.
You have to know this, right? Because this goes back to like when I was getting into like the Black Woman's Guide stuff I was telling you guys. There are people who want to believe the image of you that they want to believe. And when you energetically give them something else, they can feel resentful for that about you. They can feel really resentful for you about that. I need you to understand how wicked this shit is, right? And I'm using the word wicked on purpose. Like, you have people who they have a perception of you, right? And it may be a very ugly perception. But when they begin to see that that is not the perception of what you are, they can resent you for not being the perception of what you are. You understand what I'm saying? I think that when I realized something of you not being that, you have to be careful, because this is where self-sabotage comes in, all right? And self-sabotage comes in this part because you're going to find yourself almost falling into what people believe about you, right? You're going to find yourself where you may almost even want to believe it. And this is again where you have to and you must be very, very careful. Okay? And I mean it. This is the point where you have to be like stronger spiritually. Why does this happen? Number one, you're not inside of people, so you don't know people. This is why you follow your intuition with people, right? Number two, you don't know people. Number three, you don't know people like you think you know them. But the person that you must know, and the only person that you should know, is definitely and indeed your goddamn self. Okay? All right? All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this a little bit more.
Who stayed. You will remember the ones who checked in, even if they didn't know what to say. You will remember the ones who defended you when others spoke against you. You will remember the ones who made sacrifices, big or small, just to make sure you weren't carrying the weight alone. Those are the people who deserve your trust going forward. Loyalty in the storm is rare because it requires courage. It's easy to side with success. It's harder to side with someone the world has turned against. It's easy to enjoy the benefits of a relationship when everything is flowing. It's harder to give when the river runs dry. That's why the people who stay in the storm are priceless, because they've proven that their connection to you is not based on conditions. Once you've seen this for yourself, you have to adjust how you invest in people. The ones who left when the skies darkened have shown you their limits. They may return when the sun comes out again, but you now know the truth. They were never really standing with you. They were standing with your circumstances. The next time the winds change, they will leave again. On the other hand, the ones who stayed, even when it was inconvenient, even when it cost them something, have proven their value beyond words. They deserve access to your growth, your wins, your gratitude. They have earned the right to stand in your light because they stood in your shadow without hesitation. The storm isn't pleasant, but it's essential. It forces you to stop confusing proximity with loyalty. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they're committed to you. The real ones are revealed when the ground shakes and the sky breaks open. And once you know who they are, you can build with certainty. So when the next storm comes, and it will, don't just focus on surviving it, watch closely. See who steps forward when things get hard. See who is willing to risk with you. See who remains steady when everything else is shaking. Those people are your circle. Everyone else is just passing through. When you finally make it through a season of struggle, it's tempting to believe the danger is over. You've healed, you've rebuilt, and you're stronger than before. But one of the biggest threats to your future isn't a new enemy. It's the old poison trying to find its way back into your life. These are the same people who stood by while you suffered, the ones who watched your battles from a safe distance. And now, seeing you rise, they suddenly want to be part of your story again. The danger here isn't always obvious because they often return with a smile. They might act as if nothing happened. They might use warm words, old memories, or even guilt to convince you that things are different now. But underneath it all, the truth hasn't changed. When it mattered most, they chose themselves over you. And no matter how well you're doing today, that same choice still lives in them. Old poison doesn't always come back looking dangerous. Sometimes it comes disguised as reconciliation, peace, or nostalgia. But poison in any form will still harm you if you take it in. Letting certain people back into your life isn't a show of strength. It's an open door to the same betrayal you've already experienced. The circumstances might be new, but their patterns are the same. People don't change just because you've grown. They don't suddenly develop loyalty just because your life looks better now. If they didn't value you at your lowest, they don't truly value you now. They might value what you've built, what you can give, or what being connected to you can do for them. But that's not the same as valuing you. And if you confuse the two, you'll end up surrounded by the same opportunists who vanished when you needed them most. Protecting your future means protecting your momentum. The progress you've made came from hard work, discipline, and lessons paid for in pain. You can't afford to invite people back in who drain that energy, question your worth, or quietly hope to see you fall again. Even if they don't directly sabotage you, their presence will shift your focus. Yeah. Instead of building, you'll find yourself managing their doubts, their negativity, or their subtle attempts to pull you back to the version of yourself they're comfortable with, the version that struggled, the version they could dismiss. One of the hardest parts about keeping old poison out is the emotional pull. You remember the good moments you once shared. You might even still care for them on some level, but caring for someone doesn't mean you owe them access. Forgiveness is not the same as reunion. You can wish someone well without welcoming them back into the space you fought to create. Boundaries are not acts of hate. They're acts of self-respect. There's also a trap in thinking that because you're stronger now, you can handle their presence without being affected. But poison works slowly. It doesn't have to knock you down immediately to damage you. Sometimes it just needs to distract you, to plant seeds of doubt, to make you question yourself in ways that slow your progress. And in a world where momentum is everything, even small delays can cost you more than you realize. The truth is, if someone has shown you they can't be trusted in crisis, they can't be trusted with your future. It doesn't matter how convincing their words are now. You've already seen what they'll do when the weight is heavy. You've already witnessed their priorities in action. Believing them now requires ignoring what you already know to be true. And that's not forgiveness, that's self-deception. Protecting your future isn't about living in fear of betrayal, it's about learning from it. Every hurt you've endured was a lesson about people, boundaries, and trust. If you keep letting the same lessons repeat, it's no longer the fault of those who betray you. It's your choice to keep giving them the chance. The pain of closing the door is temporary. The cost of keeping it open can be permanent. Sometimes the most dangerous people in your life aren't strangers. They're the ones you've known for years, the ones who know your history, your weaknesses, your dreams. They know exactly how to speak to your emotions, how to make you lower your guard. That's why protecting your future requires more than logic. It requires discipline. It's deciding in advance that no matter how familiar, no matter how comfortable, no matter how tempting, certain people will never be allowed back in. This isn't about bitterness. It's about stewardship. You built something, maybe it's your peace, your career, your confidence, or your relationships, and you have a responsibility to protect it. Letting the same people who let you bleed without helping is like leaving your gates open to the same enemy that attacked before. It's not noble, it's reckless. And here's the hard truth: the people you shut out may talk about you. They may twist the story, paint you as unforgiving, selfish, or changed in a bad way. That's fine. You don't need them to understand. You don't need them to approve. Your job isn't to make them comfortable, it's to protect what you've built. Those who truly care about you will understand that, and those who don't were never truly for you anyway. The future you're building is too important to risk for the comfort of people who have already proven they'll let you suffer. You've worked too hard to let familiarity outweigh wisdom. Let the past teach you, but don't let it trap you. Not everyone who was part of your history deserves a place in your future. Some doors, once closed, should never be opened again. Old poison doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it walks in quietly, pretending to be harmless. Your job is to recognize it before it takes root, to remember what it cost you last time, and to choose differently. Because the moment you start protecting your future, like your life depends on it, that's when you truly secure the life you fought for. When you look back at your hardest moments, there's a small, rare group of people who didn't flinch. They didn't disappear. They didn't wait until it was easy or safe to stand beside you. They showed up when you had nothing to give them, when you couldn't repay them, when all you had was the weight of your struggle and the uncertainty of your future. Those people are gold. They are the foundation stones in the life you're building now, and you would be a fool to forget them. The world is full of people who want to share in the harvest, but not in the planting. They want to stand in the light, but not walk with you through the darkness. That's why those who stood with you when you were at your lowest are so rare, because their loyalty wasn't based on what they could gain from you. It was based on who you are to them, not what you could do for them. That kind of loyalty can't be bought, and it can't be faked. It reveals itself only when things get hard. Building with those who built with you is more than just gratitude. It's strategy. These are the people who have already proven that they can be trusted when things aren't perfect. They have already demonstrated that they're willing to invest time, effort, and care without any guarantee of a payoff. That's the kind of character you want at the core of your future. Because no matter how much you grow, storms will come again. And when they do, you'll need people around you who won't run at the first sign of trouble. It's easy to be distracted by new faces as you rise. Success attracts attention, and people who never noticed you before will suddenly act like they've been supporters all along. They'll praise you, they'll flatter you, they'll offer to help. But you have to remember, where were they when you needed help the most? Where were they when there was no crowd, no celebration, no spotlight? If they were nowhere to be found then, their presence now is not loyalty, it's opportunity. And you can't afford to confuse the two. The ones who built with you in the early days know the truth about your journey. They saw you fail and keep going. They saw you question yourself, but still show up. They know the sacrifices you made because they made sacrifices too. That shared struggle creates a bond that can't be replicated by someone who only knows the finished product. When you build with those people, you're building on trust that has already been tested and proven. But here's the thing, you have to be intentional about honoring them. Loyalty is a two-way street. Just because someone was there for you once doesn't mean they'll keep showing up if you neglect them now. You can't take them for granted, assuming they'll always be around simply because they care. Relationships, even the strongest ones, need to be maintained. That means giving them access, sharing your wins, and making sure they benefit from the success they helped you create. Too many people make the mistake of leaving behind the ones who stood with them when times were tough, thinking they've outgrown them. That's not growth. That's arrogance. And arrogance will eventually leave you surrounded by people who are only there for what you can give, not for who you are. If you want to protect your success, you need to surround yourself with those who proved their commitment when there was nothing to gain. When you build with those who built with you, you're not just protecting your future, you're creating a culture of loyalty. Right.
Thank you. So this goes back into what I've been talking about when I said, I bet the question you have now is, how do you go and invest into a class and don't know if people are going to steal your ideas? Nobody in that class had the same idea. Do you hear me? Nobody in that class was writing even the same fucking script. We were all writing something different. We were all telling different stories in that room. And in the next class I go into, it's going to probably be the same goddamn thing. Because we're all telling stories from inside ourselves. This is why your mind has to shift and your mind has to work different. Because you're such great, wonderful idea that you have, you go into a space and realize it ain't that goddamn special. Or maybe it is special because ain't nobody else got it. You see what I'm saying? Another thing that you also have to understand too is what kind of space are you putting yourself in that you even think that somebody's going to take what you got? So you got to even look at yourself and be like, why do I feel that this is going to happen to me? Why do I feel like this is something that is going to be a problem in my life? So you have to, once again, and this is why you make investments, meaning you come out your pocket for these investments. And if you make a mistake with that investment, guess what? You dust yourself off and you try again, or you take yourself back to the drawing board. But more than likely, when you're aligned, you ain't making no mistake. That's what they talk about right here at this point. You build loyalty, you build something with other people. You go around the people who are doing it. I tell you all the time, fuck people at work, bro. Fuck people at work. You understand what I'm saying? If that person at your job is not in the same writing space, creative space, graffiti space, sketching space, crafty space, whatever space, Comic Con space that you are in, without being invited by you, they don't belong in your world. I made a mistake and I was going to let someone see my songs I wrote and I changed my goddamn mind real quick. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And clearly that person's life didn't have nothing going on with music, no motherfucking more. Man, I'm glad I ain't do that shit. That person was talking about other type shit. I was like, man, let me get away. You know what I'm saying? Let me get the fuck away from this motherfucker here. Okay? And they ain't even there no more. But the point is, that's the type of shit I had to learn. I said, nah, man, never again. Because you got to understand and hear me out. Only spaces where you are at that matters, with other people being there in those spaces with you, especially spaces that you have paid for other people to be in with you. Okay? So I need you to make sure that you pay attention to little tiny things like that. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to continue playing this a little bit more.
You're showing everyone in your circle that loyalty is rewarded. That standing with someone in the rain means you'll stand with them in the sunshine. That kind of culture attracts the right kind of people and repels the wrong ones. It becomes harder for opportunists to infiltrate your life when they see that your loyalty can't be bought, only earned. You also have to remember that building together doesn't always mean working on the same projects or sharing the same goals. It's about mutual investment. It's about making sure that as you grow, they grow too. Whether that means sharing resources, making introductions, offering support, or simply being there when they need you like they were there for you. It's about making sure your success lifts the people who helped you climb. There's something deeply powerful about looking around during your best moments and seeing faces that were there during your worst moments. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you of where you came from. It makes your victories richer because you're sharing them with people who understand the cost. And it makes your failures easier to bear because you know you have a core that will stand no matter what. The truth is, you don't need a crowd to build something great. You need a crew. And the best crew is the one that was willing to row the boat when the waves were high, not just when the water was calm. These are the people who keep you steady when the pressure builds, who remind you of your values when success tempts you to forget them, who challenge you when you start drifting away from the person you set out to be. Mm-hmm. In the end, your future will be shaped not just by what you build, but by who you build it with. If you choose the wrong people, your success will be fragile.
Yes.
It will collapse the moment loyalty is tested. But if you choose the ones who already proved themselves in the fire, you'll have a foundation that can weather anything. That's why
you must never forget who was there. You understand me? I'm going to tell you straight up. I didn't understand at first. Okay, I thought it was a little psychotic, but I'm realizing that it's not. As I build my foundation for myself, I take note of how everybody motherfucking treats me. Okay, I take note of how everybody, even my own family, the disrespect and everything that I have experienced, right? I think about that shit, and I was like, why? Because I'm not gonna fucking forget it. So when I get into a mode of complete selfishness, the way I am right now, it actually has formulated me into the person I am right now for the level of selfishness I got right now. Okay? It is actually formulated that, okay? Because I realized, and I said, and I remember I was telling my partner this, I said, yo, I don't deserve this shit. I know some fucked up people who deserve every fucked up shit they got. I don't deserve that shit. I don't deserve this. And the moment that I begin to say that to myself is the moment that I begin to do everything the way that I fucking do it to this day. And I need y'all to hear me out very motherfucking closely when I say that shit. I don't deserve it. And then here's another thing besides besides the fact that I don't deserve it. I can't even put my energetic time into the people who have been treating me this way because not even they are doing what I'm doing. You see how that works? Because people can sense energetically that you're going above and beyond for something more than what you're doing.
You must never forget who was there when you had nothing, and never replace them with those who only appeared once you had everything. Build with those who built with you. Reward loyalty. Protect the bond you forged in hardship. Because no matter how high you climb, you'll always need people who remind you of the climb itself. The ones who kept you moving when you were too tired to take another step. Those are the people worth building with. And if you keep them close, you'll never stand alone. When you rise, rise with purpose. Carry the people who carried you and leave behind the ones who let you bleed. Stop saving those who watched you suffer. The world rewards clarity. Choose your circle wisely, and the climb will take you further than you ever imagined.
Let me bring it back a little bit more. Let's do that.
The truth is, you don't need a crowd to build something great. You need a crew. And the best crew is the one that was willing to row the boat when the waves were high, not just when the water was calm. These are the people who keep you steady when the pressure builds, who remind you of your values when success tempts you to forget them, who challenge you when you start drifting away from the person you set out to be. In the end, your future will be shaped not just by what you build, but by who you build it with. If you choose the wrong people, your success will be fragile. It will collapse the moment loyalty is tested. But if you choose the ones who already proved themselves in the fire, you'll have a foundation that can weather anything. That's why you must never forget who was there when you had nothing, and never replace them with those who only appeared once you had everything. Build with those who built with you. Reward loyalty. Protect the bond you forged in hardship. Because no matter how high you climb, you'll always need people who remind you of the climb itself. The ones who kept you moving when you were too tired to take another step. Those are the people worth building with. And if you keep them close, you'll never stand alone. When you rise, rise with purpose. Carry the people who carried you and leave behind the ones who let you bleed.
Yeah. That's real. That right there is reigning so true in my life right there. Not so much of this quote here, but the way what he just said earlier, like you can't feel obligated to somebody who's been a complete asshole to you. Do you understand me? You can't feel obligated to somebody who's been a complete asshole to you. All right? You cannot sit here and just think, okay, yeah, it's never going to be different with that motherfucker. It's going to be even worse. Because this is where self-sabotage comes in. You'll lay down everything you're doing just to be liked, just to be loved, just to have more respect, just to have whatever, fill in the blank. And the point is, you're never going to have it. And if you put down these things in your life, and that is what gets you love and respect, you need to be side-eyeing that shit. You need to be looking at that shit like, So when I put everything down in my life that made me happy and successful, that puts me on a path of this right here for me, you don't like me. But when I put myself down to nothing, you like me? You have to pay attention to that. This is why I tell you, don't do it. You cannot care. Because there are people that is their goal, is to make you stop doing everything that you are doing. That's their goal, to come into your life and make you stop. That's their goal, to make sure you get sick, that you slow down. It goes back to what I said. Remember that lady? And I was ready. This is around the time I was really honing into this goddamn script, let me tell you. And she was like, you don't look tired. Okay? Those was her words. You don't look tired. Why should it matter if I'm tired or not? You don't look tired. And I still to this day be thinking, why does that matter? And so I'm trying to tell you, people be watching you and you don't even realize that they be watching you, that they be trying to see what you're doing and this and that, because they can sense it. And if you let their energy get in your way, you'll stop everything. You'll put the book down. You'll stop writing. You got to hone in, baby. I'm being serious.
Strength is not born in comfort. It is forged in betrayal.
What's this quote say? Fortune bends to the man who dares to command it. Hesitation is the true betrayal of power.
Strength is not born in comfort. It is forged in betrayal, in rejection, in nights where no one comes to save you. The strongest version of yourself will never emerge from ease. It rises from fire. You must understand this. Life does not reward the kind. It rewards the relentless. The world does not bend for the good. It bends for the unbreakable. And if you want to ascend, you must stop asking for fairness, because fairness is an illusion whispered to keep men obedient. The truth? Nobody cares about your struggles. Nobody will hand you power. If you are not willing to become ruthless with your time, your energy, and your focus, then you are willingly choosing weakness. The first step is brutal acceptance. No one is coming. The second step is savage responsibility. Everything is on you. This is the foundation. Without it, every rule that follows will collapse. If you can't stomach this, leave now. If you can, then comment below with this creed. No one saves me, I save myself. Because this is where your transformation begins, not with hope, not with mercy, but with ruthless clarity.
Your deck is a mess. The presentation is in 2 hours. Panic mode. Enter beautiful AI. Okay, it's an AI-powered presentation.
Number 1, discipline is freedom. Every man talks about freedom, but few ever taste it. Most confuse freedom with doing whatever they want, whenever they want. That is not freedom. It is slavery to impulse. Real freedom comes only through discipline. When your body obeys your mind, when your habits serve your vision, when your time bends to your command, that is freedom. Discipline is the architecture of strength. It is the silent contract you sign with yourself every morning, the unshakable agreement that no matter how you feel, you will act. The man who waits for motivation will always be chained by weakness, but the man who has discipline becomes unstoppable. Discipline builds the frame for greatness. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your body, and hardens your spirit. It is the small, consistent actions done with precision and resolve that stack into an unshakable foundation. This is not about punishment. It is about power. The kind of power that makes you calm in chaos, steady in storms, unshaken when the world bends. Every great warrior, thinker, and leader who carved their name into history did it through disciplined practice. And now, so will you. Comment these words and make them your oath. Discipline is my freedom. Say it, write it, live it, because the moment you master yourself, no man and no circumstance will ever master you again. Number 2, build relentless focus. Power is scattered when the mind is scattered. Weak men fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they chase too many things too quickly with too little depth. The strongest version of yourself is not the man who does everything. It is the man who chooses one direction, one mission, and burns his energy into it until the world has no choice but to recognize his presence. Focus is the amplifier of strength. It takes your skills, your knowledge, your will, and concentrates them into a laser that cuts through every distraction. To master focus, you must guard your attention as you would guard your life, because in many ways, it is your life. What you give your attention to is what you become. Do not let trivial noise, shallow entertainment, or the endless opinions of others fracture your path. Every second you waste on things that do not build you is a second stolen from the man you are meant to become. Instead, direct your eyes forward, cut away what does not matter, and pour yourself fully into what does.
This goes back into what I talk about, the news, and all this type of shit. I mean, you need to be informed, I agree, but you can't pour yourself into that when you have things that you got to get done and things you got to manifest and all of that. That's the power of focus and concentration.
Focus transforms effort into results, potential into legacy. It creates momentum so powerful that resistance breaks before it. And once you have tasted the clarity of relentless focus, the world will feel different, sharper, simpler, conquerable. Your task is not to do everything, but to do the right things with such intensity that nothing can stand in your way. Comment this below. My focus is my fortress, because when your mind is fortified by purpose, no distraction, no temptation, and no weakness can penetrate it. Guard your focus, nurture it, relentlessly protect it. For in focus, you discover the raw power to become unstoppable. Number 3, forge unshakable resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It is about rising every single time it comes. No matter how strong you become, life will test you, storms will strike, obstacles will appear, and setbacks will arrive uninvited. But the strongest version of yourself does not crumble. He adapts, he endures, he pushes through. Resilience is the armor of the mind and the steel of the spirit. It is the inner voice that says, I will not stop here, even when everything seems stacked against you. Remember, greatness is never built in perfect conditions. Diamonds form under pressure. Mountains rise from collisions. So must you. Every failure you face is a teacher. Every difficulty is resistance training for your soul. Do not fear the challenges. They are shaping you into someone who cannot be broken. When the world expects you to fold, stand tall. When fear whispers retreat, step forward. The man who has resilience becomes unshakable because nothing outside of him holds the power to destroy him. This is why resilience is not weakness, it is invincibility. Carry this truth with you. Your strength is not proven by what happens when life is easy. It is proven by how you stand when life is hard. And when others look at you, let them see a man who does not bend, who does not break, who only grows sharper with every test. Comment below and make this your creed. I rise through every storm. Say it and believe it, because resilience is not just surviving, it is thriving, evolving, and walking through fire untouched. Number 4, master the power of consistency. Consistency is the quiet force that separates the ordinary from the exceptional. Talent without consistency is wasted potential. Ambition without consistency is a fading spark. But consistency, daily, disciplined, relentless consistency, is what transforms a man into a monument. Think of water cutting through stone, not by force, not by speed, but by persistence. That is the secret. Small, intentional actions, repeated over time, carving destiny into reality. The world respects the man who shows up again and again, long after excitement fades, long after applause dies, long after others have quit. Consistency is not glamorous. It is often invisible. It is waking before dawn when no one is watching. It is training your mind, your body, and your craft with devotion, even when no reward is in sight. The strongest version of yourself is not built in moments of passion, but in the daily grind of discipline. Consistency breeds momentum, and momentum breeds inevitability. When you commit fully, your progress compounds, your growth multiplies, and your presence becomes undeniable. Understand this. Greatness is never a single act. It is the echo of countless disciplined days stacked together. Do not underestimate the power of steady effort. The man who commits to consistency is the man who can no longer be stopped, because no single failure, no single setback, no single bad day can erase the mountain of progress he has built. This is why consistency is the ultimate weapon. It makes success not a matter of chance.
Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst, he said, modern people don't see God because they don't look low enough. That's worth thinking about for the rest of your life. The Sermon on the Mount is the longest continuous discourse attributed to Christ in the Gospels,
But a matter of time. So choose your path, define your standard, and honor it every day without excuse. This is how legacies are written, one day at a time, without fail. And remember this, consistency is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You will stumble, but you must continue. You will face resistance, but you must endure. Even on days where progress feels invisible, the act of showing up plants seeds beneath the soil that will one day break through with unstoppable force. Consistency transforms your habits, and habits transform your identity. What you repeat, you become. And when what you repeat is strength, discipline, and focus, you inevitably become the man you were destined to be. This is why consistency is the great equalizer. It does not care about talent, background, or luck. It rewards only the relentless. And if you hold to it, no matter how small the steps, you will arrive where others only dreamed. Every day you remain consistent, you are declaring to the world, I will not be moved. I will not be stopped. My destiny is inevitable. Comment these words below and make them your personal commandment. Consistency makes me unstoppable. Because when you live with that truth, success is no longer a question of if, it becomes a certainty of when. Number 5, strength through solitude. In the journey of becoming the strongest version of yourself, you will discover a truth that many fear to face. Solitude is power. Most men run from silence, filling their lives with noise, distractions, and constant company. But solitude is not emptiness. It is the crucible where clarity is born. The man who fears being alone has not yet met himself. The man who embraces solitude finds strength that no crowd can give. When you are alone, the masks fall away. There is no one to impress, no one to validate you, no one to carry the weight. There is only you, And that is where power begins. Solitude strips you down to your essence. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, to sharpen your thoughts, to face the man in the mirror without excuse. It is in solitude that warriors forged their resolve, philosophers shaped their wisdom, leaders envisioned their empires. Every great man in history has known the necessity of withdrawing from the noise to return stronger, clearer, and unshakable. Solitude teaches you self-reliance. It reveals what you truly value. It builds an inner fortress that no betrayal, no rejection, no outside storm can breach. When you learn to stand strong in solitude, you become unbreakable because your strength no longer depends on anyone else. The world respects the man who does not cling, who does not beg for attention, who does not fear being misunderstood. Such a man radiates presence because his power is rooted within, not borrowed from the crowd. Do not mistake this for isolation. Solitude is not cutting yourself off from the world. It is strengthening yourself so that when you walk into the world, you walk in with authority, with calm, with certainty. A man anchored in solitude is immune to the chaos of others because he has learned to draw from his own well. This is why your ability to be alone and grow in that aloneness is one of the greatest weapons you will ever wield. In solitude, you read, you train, you build, you think, you create, you prepare while the world distracts itself. And when the time comes, you step forward, not as one who seeks validation, but as one who commands it without asking. Make solitude your ally, not your enemy. Learn to enjoy your own company. Learn to thrive in your own silence. Because when you can stand strong alone, you can stand anywhere. Comment these words below and let them define your strength. Solitude is my power. Say it with conviction. Write it as your truth. Because the man who conquers solitude conquers himself, and the man who conquers himself cannot be conquered by anything else. Number 6, command your energy. Energy is life. It is the unseen currency that determines everything you can and cannot do. You may have strength, you may have vision, you may have ambition, but without the mastery of your energy, all of it will scatter into nothing. The man who wastes his energy is the man who wastes his life. And here lies the truth. The strongest version of yourself is not the one who has endless reserves. It is the one who knows exactly where to place his reserves. Commanding your energy begins with awareness. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, every action you take either feeds you.
They said it better than I could say it. That's exactly what I said, right? Exactly. Let's go.
Or power or drains it. Most men bleed energy without realizing it, scrolling endlessly, engaging in petty conflicts, wasting their vitality on gossip, distraction, or empty pursuits. But the man who masters energy becomes a force of nature. He channels his vitality with precision. He knows what builds him and what breaks him. He invests his energy into his body, into his craft, into his purpose, and refuses to give it away to anything unworthy. Energy is focus. Energy is time. Energy is presence. And when you guard it with the same ferocity you would guard your life, you rise above the masses who squander theirs. The key is not to do more, but to do less, better. Eliminate what drains you, double down on what empowers you, sleep with intention, train with intensity, work with clarity, speak only when it matters, move only with purpose. This is how you build an energy field around you so magnetic that people feel it when you walk into the room. Energy is not just physical, it is emotional, mental, spiritual. You must keep your emotional energy clean by refusing to dwell on resentment or self-pity. You must keep your mental energy sharp by feeding your mind with knowledge, not noise. You must keep your spiritual energy strong by aligning your actions with your highest values. When all these energies align, you are unstoppable. A man with high energy commands respect without asking, because his presence is undeniable. People can sense it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. This is why you must become ruthless with where your energy flows. Guard your mornings like sacred ground. Protect your attention from the poison of endless distraction.
Every goddamn thing I just said. Everything I just said. I mean, I can't make this shit up if I tried. I'm living it. That's how I know to talk about it.
Surround yourself with people who fuel your fire, not those who dim it. The strongest warriors in history were not always the most skilled.
Let me tell you something. You cannot be like, I want to build an empire like Shonda Rhimes, right? But have a friend that call you about some love and hip hop shit, right? Or have a friend that call you about some drama shit. Unless y'all have the 90-second rules like I have. Okay, I'm gonna do this for 90 seconds. I'm gonna let it go, right? But you can't, and it's so deep because you can't even have it that way. I'm not telling you can't be human. I'm just saying, like, you can't even have it that way. This person's energy in your life has to align with you. That means if they be like, I saw this on Love and Hip Hop and I thought about your character. And what if you could do this and that with your script? And in Shonda Rhimes' show, Scandal, remember that? Oh, you can do that. That's the kind of conversation you want to have. You have to be damn near obsessed and autistic. Not saying don't handle your responsibilities in business. I'm sure y'all all mature enough to know that. I don't have to do that. with what you like to do, that you only want to talk about the things that you want to talk about. And only the things that you like to talk about.
They were the most energized, the most focused, the most alive in their purpose. Energy is the multiplier of everything you are. With energy, you can endure, you can create, you can lead, you can inspire. Without it, even the greatest vision dies in silence. So let this be etched into your code. Do not waste your fire. Do not allow your vitality to be stolen by trivialities. Channel it, guard it, command it. Because a man who commands his energy commands his destiny. And if you live by this rule, you will rise with power that cannot be ignored. Comment these words below and turn them into your oath. My energy obeys my purpose. Live by it, embody it, and watch as your life bends to your will. Number 7. Build an unshakable mind. The battlefield of power, of strength, of destiny has always been the mind. Muscles will decay, fortunes may rise and fall, circumstances will shift like sand. But the mind, sharpened and fortified, remains the throne upon which power sits. To build the strongest version of yourself, you must create an unshakable mind. This is not the common mind that bends under stress, collapses under fear, or crumbles under doubt. This is the mind that stands like a fortress, solid, disciplined, and immovable in its command. An unshakable mind begins with clarity.
Forget hiring a VA. I installed an AI employee and I scaled faster than my funded competitors.
Know who you are, know what you value, know where you are going. Without clarity, the mind drifts. With clarity, the mind cuts through fog like a blade. Train your mind to dismiss noise, to rise above petty distractions, to remain focused on the great horizon ahead. Every day, the world will try to steal your attention, tempt you into weakness, drag you into chaos. But you are not common. You guard your mind like a king guards his kingdom, allowing in only what builds strength, only what sharpens wisdom, only what fuels your fire. An unshakable mind is also disciplined in thought. Thoughts are seeds. Plant weakness, and weakness grows. Plant strength, and strength rises. Do not waste mental energy on fear, jealousy, or comparison. Such thoughts are thieves that rob you of your empire. Instead, feed your mind with resilience, with gratitude, with vision, with strategy. Command your inner dialogue with precision. Never speak to yourself as a victim, only as a victor. When doubt arises, transform it into resolve. When fear knocks, answer it with preparation. When chaos strikes, respond with calm control. The unshakable mind does not panic, it calculates. It does not complain, it adapts. It does not collapse, it endures. And through this discipline, the world begins to see a man who cannot be rattled. Understand this truth. Strength of mind is not about denying emotion, but mastering it. Anger can become fire that fuels action. Fear can become alertness that sharpens instincts. Pain can become wisdom that prevents future mistakes. Every emotion is energy, and the unshakable mind bends that energy into power. This is why great leaders, warriors, and thinkers were always masters of their own minds first, because once you master the mind, you master everything else. To build this strength, train it daily, expose yourself to discomfort, and watch yourself endure. Study wisdom, philosophy, strategy, reflect in solitude, meditate on your path, sharpen your concentration through discipline, and above all, test yourself. The unshakable mind is not built in comfort. It is built by facing challenges head-on and refusing to yield. Soon, nothing external can shake you, because you have already conquered the inner battlefield. Imagine this: storms raging around you, people breaking under pressure, chaos tearing through the world. Yet you stand calm, eyes forward, mind clear, spirit steady. That is the mark of the unshakable mind. That is the mind of a man untouchable. And when you embody this, others will look to you for strength, because they will feel your certainty, your presence, your command. This is the kind of mind that bends fate itself. Comment below and etch this declaration into your being. My mind is my fortress. Say it as law, as creed, as identity. For once you truly believe it, you will carry within you a fortress no enemy can breach, no setback
My mind is my fortress.
can topple, no storm can destroy. Build this mind, and you will hold in your hands the ultimate key to becoming the strongest version of yourself. Number 8. Forge the body into a weapon. The mind is command, but the body is execution. A sharp mind trapped in a weak body is like a king imprisoned in chains. His vision may be vast, but his reach is crippled. To become the strongest version of yourself, you must forge your body into a weapon. Precise, powerful, disciplined, and unyielding. This is not about vanity. It is about function, control, and presence. A man whose body radiates strength commands attention without speaking. His posture tells a story of resilience. His stride speaks of certainty. His very frame communicates that he is not to be trifled with. Physical strength is not just muscle. It is stamina, endurance, and vitality. It is the daily training of your body until it obeys your will without hesitation. When you master your body, you build not only strength, but confidence, because nothing speaks louder to the mind than proving, day after day, that you can push further than yesterday. Your workouts become rituals, your sweat becomes sacrifice, your discipline becomes testimony that you are willing to carry yourself with honor. Train with intensity, eat with purpose, rest with strategy, because every choice is either sharpening or dulling the weapon that is your body. Think of the ancient warriors, the samurai, the legionnaires, the gladiators. They did not train for looks, they trained for survival, for dominance, for readiness. You must adopt the same mindset. Train so that you are prepared for whatever life demands, whether it is endurance through long struggles, strength to protect what is yours, or energy to pour into your mission. A strong body builds a strong spirit. Because when you feel yourself growing stronger, you begin to see yourself as capable of enduring anything. Do not neglect this truth. The body is the foundation that supports the throne of the mind. A weak body saps the will, but a strong body feeds it. Every rep, every step, every drop of sweat is not just physical, it is psychological, it is spiritual. It is a message that says, I am rising. Discipline your body, and you discipline your mind. Conquer your flesh, and you conquer your fear. Your body becomes your armor, your fortress, your instrument of presence in the world. And remember, it is not about comparison to others. It is about mastery of yourself. Compete only against yesterday's version of you. Lift more, run further, fight harder, endure longer, not because you must, but because you can. This is the transformation. You stop seeing training as struggle, and you start seeing it as privilege. You begin to hunger for challenge, to crave the burn, to welcome the weight, because you know every ounce of effort is forging you into someone untouchable. A forged body fuels a forged mind, and together they create the man who is unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. Comment below and let these words be carved into your path. My body is my weapon. Say it, live it, embody it. For the man who forges his body into a weapon becomes not just stronger, he becomes sovereign over himself, and sovereign men are the ones who shape the world.
Little Red Riding Hood. Let's start the story a different way. It was dark inside the wolf. Human beings are creative storytelling beings. They make art because that's what human beings do. As a writer, your goal is to keep your reader believing in your story, even though both of you know it's fiction. When I wrote The Handmaid's Tale, nothing went into it that had not happened in real life.
Number 9, master the art of legacy. Strength, discipline, resilience, focus, energy, solitude, consistency, clarity of mind, and a forged body. All of these form the foundation of greatness. But true power reaches beyond you. The strongest version of yourself is not just measured by what you achieve in this life, but by what remains when you are gone. Legacy is the mark you leave on the world, the echo of your actions, the impact of your presence. Legacy is the shadow that walks long after you are no longer here. To master legacy, you must live with intention. Every choice you make must serve a higher purpose. Every effort must align with something greater than fleeting pleasures or temporary rewards. The man who builds legacy does not chase applause. He builds structures that endure. He plants seeds that grow. He creates influence that outlives him. Legacy begins in silence, in the daily grind, in the decisions no one sees. It is not built overnight, but forged through years of consistency, vision, and unshakable values. Legacy is not about being remembered by many. It is about being remembered deeply by those who matter, those whose lives were shaped by your strength, your wisdom, your example. A father who raises his children to be strong and wise has built legacy. A leader who lifts others to rise higher than themselves has built legacy. A warrior who stands unshaken in the face of adversity, inspiring others to do the same, has built legacy. Legacy is built not through grand speeches, but through relentless action. Ask yourself daily, what am I building that will remain? Will my work outlive me? Will my actions echo through generations? Or will I fade, leaving no trace? The strongest version of yourself knows this truth. We are temporary, but what we build can be eternal. To live with legacy in mind is to live with power, because it forces you to rise above trivial distractions and align with something timeless. It makes you weigh your words, your habits, your actions, not just by how they serve you today, but by how they shape tomorrow. Legacy demands vision, but also sacrifice, the willingness to endure discomfort today so that your future self and those who follow you stand on stronger ground. And legacy, once chosen, changes everything. It changes how you train, because you are no longer training for vanity. You are training to embody strength for decades. It changes how you work, because you are no longer chasing quick wins. You are building lasting influence. It changes how you live, because you begin to see yourself not just as one man, but as the seed of a future that extends beyond you. This is why legacy is the crown of strength. Everything else builds you. Legacy ensures you remain. Comment these words below and let them mark your path. I build what outlives me. Etch it into your mind. Live by it daily. And know that the man who lives for legacy cannot be erased, for his strength is written into eternity. Number 10, command time, command life. Of all the forces in existence, time is the most ruthless. It cannot be bargained with. It cannot be slowed. It cannot be reclaimed once it is gone. Every second that passes either builds you or buries you. The strongest version of yourself understands this truth deeply. Power comes from mastery over time, not control in the sense of halting its flow. That is impossible. Control in the sense of commanding how every moment is used, how every day is lived, how no hour is wasted on what does not elevate you. Most men treat time as if it were infinite, scattering their hours on distractions, pouring their days into trivialities, and waking years later wondering why they remain unchanged. But the man who commands time understands that each day is a blade, sharp, finite, irreversible, and he wields it with precision. To master time is to rise each morning with intention, to know what matters, and to cut away what doesn't. It is to treat your calendar as a battlefield, defending your hours against intruders of mediocrity, guarding your focus from the thieves of distraction, and investing your minutes into building strength, knowledge, health, and impact. Time is not money. Time is life. Money lost can be made again. Time lost is gone forever. Therefore, the man who masters time becomes unstoppable, because he multiplies his efforts across weeks, months, years, until his momentum cannot be matched. Commanding time does not mean rigid schedules or lifeless routines. It means aligning your time with your highest purpose. It means asking, with every action, does this bring me closer to the man I seek to become? Does this feed my mission, my body, my mind, my legacy? If not, it is cut away. The disciplined use of time creates a life of power. With
All right, y'all.
consistency and focus, what seems impossible to others becomes inevitable to you. Every great empire was not built in days, but in years of purposeful time. Every great warrior was not forged in a single battle, but in countless days of preparation. Your life is your empire, your body, your weapon, your mind, your command post, and time is the resource that fuels it all.
All right, y'all. I think y'all get the message, right? I hope y'all get the message, right? So, while I was sitting here doing what I needed to do in my little corner, while y'all listen to that, y'all can go to the second link inside the comment section and listen to that. I think my comment section is pretty loud. I am halfway asleep and sitting down sketching out some shit. Not some shit, but sketching out some great ideas that I actually liked that started coming to me while I had zoned out a little bit. And yeah, I just got one character. I just got one person in this thing. I'm just like, oh man, I gotta build them up stronger. And that's the type of thing that I'm gonna have the meeting about. Like, I need this person to be stronger. It's not strong enough. Everybody else seems to be tougher and standing out more. And I need to find something to work around who this character is. You get what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, let me just go ahead and say this. Maybe like this. That's probably what I need to work out. What exactly do they do at work? I'm saying, I think once I answer these questions, I'll wake up tomorrow and answer these questions. I think this will help me out more. Anyway, y'all, I'm out of here. I done got zoned out any damn way.